Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the all-new 2025 BMW X3. This is the M50i xDrive. Huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Charlotte for providing this SUV for me today. Take a look at their website. That link is down in the description. This model is finished off in Brooklyn Gray Metallic, and it has an MSRP just over $73,000. Now this is powered by the 3-liter inline 6-cylinder turbocharged engine. It's also paired to the mild hybrid system along with the 8-speed automatic. It pumps out 393 horsepower, 428 pound-feet of torque. That power sent through that xDrive all-wheel drive system, propelling this 4,500-pound SUV from 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. It has a top speed of 155 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 17.2 gallons. You'll expect to see around 21 miles per gallon in the city, 26 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 112.8 inches. Its overall length is 187.2. It has a width of 75.6, a height of 65.4, and its ground clearance also measures in at 8.3 inches. Now, as we take a look at the exterior styling for the all-new X3, it definitely has a much different design than the previous generation. I actually made a full comparison video as well with the all-new X3 versus the 24-year model, so take a look at that to see all of the details with the differences. But the new XM almost resembles the new X3 almost resembles the XM in a way with all of its body lines. Up front, you'll notice the kidney grille. This model also has the optional illuminating light, so that is in the entire surround. There's the forward-facing camera. There's also active grille shutters to provide additional cooling and badge over on that driver's side. There's also a dark housing for the LEDs up front with a really nice design, much different than the previous generation. A lot of gloss black in the lower section as well as the cutouts on both sides. There's parking sensors up front, even more grille shutters in the lower section there. Little bit of a gloss black stripe right in the middle, and then some lines that resemble that XM design, which is really neat to see. Now, as we work our way to the side, this has a really nice set of two-tone wheels, along with having the M Sport brake calipers. There's also a little bit of contoured edges in that lower section there. Gloss black for the power folding side mirrors, which have a camera and a turn signal. That gloss black works its way to the entire window surround. It's also on the roof racks. This has a full moonroof up top. And then as we take a step back, has a much different look with all of the lines. There's the flush mounted door handles too. A little bit more edgy, a little bit more boxy than the previous model. There's also the integrated spoiler, which is a bit longer. There's gloss black on the back section. There's the integrated brake light along with the wiper blade in the lower section. There's the LED taillights as well, backup camera with all these sensors. There's also a gloss black in the entire lower diffuser, as well as the quad tip dual exhaust. Now, if you opt for the towing package, you can tow right around 4,800 pounds with this vehicle, and then it does have remote start, so you can use the key fob to do that. You can also use the key fob or the button up underneath to open up the power lift gate. And with this open, this is a little bit on the smaller side. I personally own an X5, and this isn't all that bad. I get more space, of course, since that's a bigger vehicle, but if you're not looking for that large of a vehicle, you have a good bit of space. There's also a storage net. You get a 12-volt. There's 2 hooks in the back, so you can place some groceries or bags so they don't roll around. There's also this cover that slides out. You can fold down all 3 back seats if you need that much more interior storage, and there's also hidden storage underneath the floor where you can place additional items if you need to. Up top, you have 2 buttons. You can just close that lift gate, or you can lock the vehicle as well. Now, if it does lock, all you have to do is grab the sensor up front. There's no sensor in the back, so you can just place your hand there and it will unlock all 4 doors. And then once we take a look at the back here, really nice door panel with all the leather and blue stitching. There's the Harman Kardon audio along with this brush trim accent that surrounds the release handle. You get a little bit of storage down below along with the cup holder, and then you have the window adjustment. Now, this particular X3 also has a very nice set of seats. They are upgraded with all this Alcantara blue stitching, and then the colors actually stitched in the inserts are 3 different colors, which is interesting to see. Normally you see that on the seat belts, but we have that for the inserts, which is nice. And then solid leather for the entire lower section. Now in back, there's an area where you can place tablets, which is nice. You have storage nets down below. There's also all of your climate adjustments, along with this having heated seats. So you have those adjustments, your temperature controls, where you'd like the air to go. Really neat to see all of that. There's some auxiliaries and then your fan controls above that. Now, as far as headroom goes, at 5'10", I have around 2 or 3 inches of headroom, so it's actually very spacious. For its smaller size, you can have full-size adults in the back. Now, right in the middle, there's also the armrest along with 2 cup holders, and then you can fold this middle seat down individually if you need to do that. And then here's a look at visibility from the back. And then we have that full moonroof with that sunshade, which is currently closed at the moment, but a nice bit of space for its size. Now up front, the door panel is just like the rear. However, this trim accent is actually an illuminating section rather than that dark trim you saw in the back. There's lock and unlock. We have some fan adjustments and then memory seats on this entire panel. There's your side mirror adjustments, window controls, liftgate release, and a lot more storage. And then same design for the front seats with the coloring. You have all the Alcantara for the upper section and then leather for the rest. These are power adjusting, so you have all those adjustments, and then there is one manual control for the leg support. And then it's a low SUV, so it's very easy to get into, where we are greeted with the all-new steering wheel. So it's solid leather with the flat bottom design. It's the M steering wheel, of course, really nice spokes on both sides. And then this also has massive paddle shifters on each side as well. Before we get into all of the rest of the controls there, let's start this up and take a listen to how this sounds. And coming back to the digital gauge cluster now, you'll see over on the left side there's fuel along with miles per hour. On the right side there's your tach and power along with the engine temperature. And then to go through the rest of that, we do have some controls over on this right side. There's volume along with music, Bluetooth and voice commands, and then this settings button right here. That allows you to get into all of this content. So you can scroll through all of this, pull up the map, go through some of this other information. And then if you would like to, you can also adjust the layout. So you can just change how you would like to view this information. You have 3 different settings. And then the last one is for the head-up display. So you can go through a few of those settings depending on the information that you would like to see. You also have the curved ahead view, which I have not seen before. It says convenient driving in unfamiliar curves. So if you're on some back roads, you can have that pop up and it will give you a little bit more of a heads up, I believe, on the roads that you're on. Really neat to see that. Now on the left side, there's all of your cruise control settings. And then on the lower section, there's a fan adjustment. You have some matte black trim accents. And then as we work our way to the infotainment system, you have quite a lot to go through. So on the home screen here, you'll notice navigation on one side, and then you can scroll through info on this left side. So you get the split view to go through all of that information. In the lower section, all of this is fixed, so you can quickly get into your phone when you have that paired, and then you have all of these icons that you can also scroll through. So you have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all of your displays, exterior lighting. You have quite a lot that you can look at. There's also your climate adjustments, so you can get into all of that. You have your power for that, and then you can also get into your heated and ventilated seats and the heated steering wheel. There's your navigation to pull that up in full screen, and then you can also pull up your music as well. There's more matte black underneath that. You have some controls for the vents there, along with some defrosters. There's more air vent adjustments. There's wireless charging down below, along with a good bit of space and some additional auxiliaries. You get this interesting triangle with X3 with cup holders on both sides. There's also all of these shortcuts for that screen. So you don't have to use it as a touchscreen system. You can easily use all of those to go through that. There's also volume and tuning, and then you have My Modes. When you push on My Modes, you can actually get into these various settings here. So you can go into Sport Mode, where everything is going to change red, and then you can go into the rest of these where you can get a glimpse of what that is going to look like. So digital art will change. It's also going to adjust the sunshade as well. So the driving modes not only change the gauge cluster, but it will change the sunshade and a few other items as well, depending on the mode that you are in. Now also down below, you'll notice these 3 buttons right here. When you push on those, that allows you to get into your driver assistance, your drivetrain and chassis, and your display. Your drivetrain and chassis is where you can get into iconic sounds. So that's going to pipe in some of the exhaust note as well. And then you have a shortcut to the parking sensors and your engine start stop button. With my foot on the brake, we'll just push that forwards. That is for reverse, where you get the backup camera with the 360 view. You have several different angles here depending on what you would like to see. So you have no shortage of visibility around the entire vehicle. You can pull this back for drive, one more time for sport mode, and then park is by pushing on the e-brake. There's also auto hold. You get a little bit of storage in the armrest there with an auxiliary. And then the glove box has plenty of space. There's garage door buttons on the rear view mirror. You have your adjustments for the sunshade and sunroof, as well as some dome lights too. And then here's a look at visibility. It's very open feeling. It's a small vehicle, but you have a lot of glass over that right side. Over the left side, you can easily see out of that back window as well. So as we set off behind the wheel now for the all-new X3, if you are new to our channel, I own an X5. It's a few years older, but I do have a good bit of experience with the SUV in general. With the X3, I've been able to drive quite a lot of them, so I have a good seat time and good experience with these SUVs. Now for the all-new X3, this is much different on the interior. We have a lot of different designs, different shapes, new steering wheel. We have a different amount of power too. What's interesting with the all-new X3 is that this is the highest trim level so far for the model, the M50. The comparison that I made was with this versus the last model year with the X3 M competition, which has a lot more power. So if you want to see that video, take a look at that separate comparison. It's interesting though to see that BMW doesn't have that level of performance for this X3 unless that is something that is coming at a later time. But for now, we have this M50 here. That's really nice. I'll say it's a little quirky as far as some of the design elements go. Definitely a lot different than the 24-year model. And so I think we have a really nice refresh. It's also a lot less expensive too than the previous model. And especially when you compare it to the competition version, this is about $10,000, $15,000 less, which is interesting to see. Maybe they just wanted a lower price point for this model as well. But let's put it into sport mode here, where everything is going to change red. We can put it into the sport mode for the paddles. Here we go. Still sounds good. We had some little crackles in that exhaust there, which could be fake, I'm not sure. We have the iconic sounds, which you can turn on and off, which is a little bit of the pipe sound, but you still do have an actual exhaust to give it a sound from the back too, or from the outside. So it sounds good. I'd say it has a good bit of power to it. It's not the 500 horsepower from the competition model, but it still has a good bit of power for this M version. So you don't get quite the full M competition trim level, but you get some of the M performance, some of the characteristics, the upgraded brakes, things like that, where you have some of those performance characteristics, and you still have a really nice SUV. So if you're not looking for something that's that next level like the competition, but you want a little bit of power, this is a good option to go with. It's also a very small SUV too. I own the X5, which is significantly larger. When I was shopping for the SUV with my wife, X3 versus X5, there was a huge noticeable difference, and she liked the X5 a little bit more. We also needed that for more towing too, so that was a factor in our decision. But I like the size of this. If you're not looking for a big SUV, it's definitely a manageable SUV to drive. And we're still in sport mode from second gear. Here we go. And we are up to speed there. Paddles do a really good job. So those are very responsive, which is nice to see. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the all-new X3. What I like, and I think I just noticed this, the entire gauge cluster and infotainment system is actually smaller than what you'll find in the X5 or the X7. Visually, it looks smaller to me, so it looks like it's more nicely integrated, especially for the smaller size of this SUV. I think that looks very nice. But we do have some interesting design elements to this model, especially when you compare it to the previous X3. But I like it. It's definitely different. BMW has been changing their models lately, which I know a lot of people aren't a huge fan of, but they're also the same people that don't want to see the same thing, if that makes sense. So BMW is changing their vehicles. I think it's for the better. It's going to be the new norm. So you're going to see a lot of them around. It's going to be something that
it's just going to be part of the BMW lineup. So the changes are coming, and these seats are also really comfortable as well. I like the upgraded seats that this model has with the Alcantara, which is a nice touch. But this would make for a great daily driver, just with its compact size, with how luxury feeling it is to drive, and all of the creature comforts that you have to make this a great daily. I love the X5 that my wife has. She can drive that every day, and it just gives you a really nice feel from a luxury brand. But that is going to wrap it up for the all-new 2025 BMW X3. Once again, huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Charlotte for providing this SUV for me today. Take a look at their website, give this video a huge thumbs up, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.